Welcome to the Augmentative Communication Consultation Service Orientation e-module. This e-module is primarily for caregivers of children who are referred for consultation from ACCS. The goal of this e-learning module is to review the mandate of ACCS, what it is, and how services are delivered. This module will provide an overview of the Assistive Devices Program and how funding may be accessed to support obtaining a communication device. ACCS is an accredited Assistive Devices Program general level clinic in Ontario. The Ministry of Health ADP authorizes us to provide appropriate AAC services to children and youth with home-based complex communication needs. The client's ACCS team consists of a speech-language pathologist and may also include an occupational therapist, communicative disorders assistant, and administrative support staff. ACCS works in geographic teams that include all clinical disciplines. ACCS addresses face-to-face communication for clients whose speech is not sufficient to meet their communication needs. We work with children from birth to the end of high school who are direct accessors and have communication needs outside of the school setting, such as home or community. A direct accessor is an individual who can access their device with direct touch from a finger or stylus. ACCS provides consultation in augmentative and alternative communication to the child's family and community team. We do not provide one-to-one speech and language therapy for the child. ACCS will work together with the client's family and community team, which may include school staff, child care providers, and other resource people. We will meet with the child and the team in the most appropriate environment to address the child's communication needs. Settings can include home, school, child care, or clinic. We will collaborate with the community team to evaluate the child's present communication abilities and needs and determine next steps. ACCS services will vary depending on the child's individual needs. Services may include assessment and recommendations, goal setting and development, consultation and collaboration with team members, initial partner training, and finally, transfer of care back to the local team or discharge. The length of service will vary depending on the needs of the child and the community team. Materials or tools required to assist an individual to achieve functional communication will be prescribed by an authorized Assistive Devices Program clinician or clinic. Professionals are regulated by their college and must prescribe based on their assessment of the client's communication needs. Tools are prescribed based on the approved ADP communication aids list. Funding sources are available within the province of Ontario. Some are based on household income. For example, Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities, or ACSD funding. If you would like further information regarding possible government funding, please contact CTN Access at 1-866-377-0286. The Assistive Devices Program is a cost-sharing program available through the Ministry of Health in Ontario. ADP helps people with long-term physical disabilities pay a portion of customized equipment, like wheelchairs, hearing aids, and communication aids. All ADP forms require a doctor's or nurse practitioner's signature. The address for the ADP website is available at the end of this e-module. To qualify for ADP, the individual must possess a valid Ontario Health Card and must have a physical disability requiring equipment or supplies for 6 months or longer. To qualify for a communication aid, the individual must be unable to speak or have speech that is not functional. Funding cannot be provided to support language difficulties or delays. ADP is not an income-based funding source. ADP will only fund tools prescribed by the regulated professional. The individual must have communication needs at home and within the community, not primarily within the educational setting. ADP will not provide funding retroactively. An individual cannot purchase an AAC tool and be reimbursed after an AAC assessment. ACCS will contact you to set up visits to begin the assessment process. An assessment can occur over multiple visits in a variety of environments such as home, school, or childcare, depending on where the communication needs exist. The process will consist primarily of observation and discussion with team members, as well as direct interactions with the client. Involvement from parents or caregivers is mandatory during the assessment process and beyond. The assessment may include trials with possible AAC tools to determine the best fit. The assessment and trial period will last a maximum of 3 months, but will typically be achieved over a period of 4 to 6 visits. During an assessment, the ACCS team adheres to the SET framework, where we consider the student, environment, tasks, and tools. The student, or the client. AAC requires that we look at the whole person, their current needs and abilities. Environment. Where does the child need to communicate? Who does the child need to communicate with in each environment? What supports or tools are already in place? And what are the attitudes, expectations, and skills of the people supporting the child in each environment? Tasks. What tasks or activities are happening naturally in the child's environment? Identify the communication needs within these activities. What is successful, and where are the communication breakdowns? And finally, the ACCS team will consider the tools. After collecting all of the information in the previous steps, the team will have obtained a clearer understanding of what tool or tools should be investigated. At this point, the team may have the client trial a tool within the environments and tasks to determine if it is the right fit. The SET framework allows for developing a system of tools and strategies to address the identified needs of a client. It promotes collaboration and honors all perspectives. As caregivers, your commitment to the assessment process and follow-up is essential and mandatory. Without caregiver participation and support, the client will not be able to progress through the identified goals. The caregiver will be expected to participate in the assessment process, providing information about their child and their child's communication needs. After the assessment is completed and the tool is in place, the caregiver will participate in training provided by the ACCS team to implement and maintain the communication system. Caregivers will be responsible for ongoing training of educators and community professionals when ACCS is no longer involved. Ongoing participation in the development of goals and expectations for communication at home, school, and in the community will be the responsibility of the caregiver and the local team. It is essential that the client is provided with multiple opportunities and appropriate prompts to use the communication system across home and community environments. The ACCS team will be available to caregivers to address any questions or concerns as they arise. Educators will be expected to provide the client with access to the communication system throughout the day and provide opportunities and expectations for its use. Educators will acquire knowledge of the communication system to be able to model its use for the client. They will need to understand how to navigate the system and locate vocabulary. Initially, the ACCS team members will provide support in learning the system. Once ACCS is no longer closely involved, educators and community professionals will be responsible for obtaining knowledge through their own team members or the client's caregiver. Educators will need to participate in development of goals and expectations for communication at school to ensure that they are realistic and obtainable within that environment. Educators will also help to determine additional vocabulary that may be necessary and relay information to primary caregivers for programming. Educators should contact the ACCS team or the caregiver with any questions or concerns as they arise. ACCS team members will complete the initial assessment and make recommendations to support the client's communication needs. ACCS team members will be responsible for providing initial training to the team, such as family, school, or community professionals, to use and maintain the communication system. ACCS will follow up with family and community team and update communication goals related to the communication system, as well as plan for next steps. Problems and concerns with the communication system will be addressed by the ACCS team when they arise.